Hi everybody, it's Seth, your Mild Mannered Mage, coming back with or returning actually to the Lost Caverns of Ixalan with a collector booster box freshly acquired from my local gaming store. So in this box, we've got the opportunity to pull some of the Neon Ink Mana Crypts and Cavern of Souls, which are some of the big chase cards. We also have a chance for the Jurassic Park cards and just all of the fantastic cards that are in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. You know, with the collector booster boxes, there is a higher rate of foil cards, so hopefully we'll be hitting some of these higher value cards, higher value packs with this box. So I'm very excited to be breaking into this box with y'all. So let's go ahead and we'll rip into this plastic right here and see what we got. All right, get this popped open now. Because it is a collector booster box, there are fewer packs that are in it. So here we go. And it does come with the treasure trove, foil treasure trove box topper, which, due to tradition now, we will be saving that for last. So we'll keep that. Let's see, can we just stick it right there? Okay, so there is our box topper. We've got our two stacks right here. So this is 12 packs of Ixalan, Lost Cavern of Ixalan collector booster packs. And when we get back from the break, we will see what sort of goodies we've got. So stay tuned and we'll start busting these packs. All right, and we are back with our first set of 6 packs from this collector booster box of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. So let's see what we got. Pack number 1, and don't forget to hang out through the end of this video so that we can check out this foil treasure trove. Oh, these are a lot harder to get into than the set booster packs. Okay, there we go. Don't forget to hang out through the end of the video so that we can see what's in this foil treasure trove box. All right, so we've got our Tithing Blade. The foiling on these cards looks pretty good. Still having some trouble with this set symbol just to make sure that we've got the commons and the uncommons. Acrobatic Leap, Blood Rage, Mycoid, the Mischievous Pup. Alright, and we're getting into our uncommons now. I do like this Capricati Sunborn, red and white and 2. When it attacks, you may tap 2 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control. If you do, discover 3 exile cards until you... So basically it's Cascade 3, but you do get to Cascade for 3 instead of 2 or less. And it goes into your hand or onto the battlefield. So... that is great because if it's an instant or sorcery or an X spell, rather than casting something that you may not have a great target for immediately, then you can hold on to it until you do. I also really like this Zoetic Glyph Enchant Artifact. Enchanted Artifact is a golem creature with base power and toughness 5/4 in addition to its other types. Let's turn that clue into a 5/4 golem that we can start wrecking face with for 3 mana. And then when it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, discover 3. So has its other types as well. So if you do end up needing to sack it, and then you get to discover 3 on top of it. So I really like this card. All right, and then that foil forest. Yeah, that's where it's at right there. Then we've got our rampaging Ceratops. Into our first rail, Sentinel of the Nameless City, Vigi Merfolk Warrior Scout. Whenever Sentinel of the Nameless City enters the battlefield or attacks, create a map token to pay 1 and sack it to explore. So that's not too bad. A nice attack trigger there. Into a Souls of the Lost, black and 1 for a spirit, star +1. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or sack a permanent. Soul of the Lost power is equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. So this would go great in that new, Ancient one, the new Dimir 8/8 god from this set that wants you to mill yourself. So I think that would go really great in that commander deck. Xavier Sao, Infested Captain, black, green, blue. This is from the Pirates Commander Precon. Tapping to remove a counter from another permanent you control. Populate. Activate as a sorcery. Tap to sack another creature to proliferate. Activate only as a sorcery. So want to populate, and you want to make and you want to proliferate with him. Very interesting. Then we have our Vampire Demon, Bringer of the Last Gift, 2 black and 6, flying 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, each player sacks all other creatures they control. Then each player returns all creatures from their graveyard that weren't put onto the battlefield this way. So it's a living death on a stick for 8 mana. Then we've got a Flippy Forest. So we've got another Jurassic Park forest. So everything is all great and shiny. And then when dinosaurs attack. Then we have Kitesell, Larcenist, Human Pirate, Flying Ward 1. When it enters the battlefield, for each player, choose up to 1 other target artifact or creature that player controls. For as long as Kitesell Larcenist remains on the battlefield, the chosen permanent becomes a treasure artifact with sack this art, so it becomes a treasure. That's pretty awesome. So let's turn some stuff off for our opponents. And then we've got our token is a treasure and a dino. That's pretty awesome. Okay. Pack number 2. I think that was a good opening volley right there. Good opening volley. So Echo of Dusk, Sage of Days, Cavern Stomper, Ancestral Remembrance. Then we get into our uncommons, Council of Echoes, Malicious Eclipse, Sunbird Standard. Then we've got our Swamp card in foil. That's beautiful foiling right there. Again, they can stick these full art foils in here. Why can't we just have these as our regular lands in the regular boosters? Just saying. Not saying, just saying. Then we have Kutzul, Malamet Exemplar, Cat Warrior, green and white and 1. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn, so that's a Grand Arbiter effect. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control with each with power greater than its base power deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Okay, so if you buff your creatures and have them do combat damage, maybe throw a little trampoline on it, then you get to draw some cards. Then we move into our rares, and our first one is this Dire Flail. 1 red, equipped creature gets +2/+0, equip 1, and then you can craft it with an artifact for 5 mana, so that turns into Dire Blunderbuss. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has, whenever this creature attacks, you may sack an artifact other than Dire Blunderbuss. When you do, this creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature. Okay, so you get to attack, sack an artifact, deal damage to a potential blocker, get it out of the way so that they can't block with that creature. Okay, I'm down with it. I see what they're doing. The Ever-Flowing Well enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards, then draw 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, transform it into the Myriad Pools. Tap it to add a blue. Whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana from the Myriad Pool, up to one other target permanent you control becomes a copy of that spell until end of turn. So yeah, let's make 2 Blightsteel Colossuses. That sounds great. Yeah. Or 2 other equally scary things on the battlefield, with one of them not having summoning sickness. That's fantastic. Then we have Don Andreas, the Renegade, again from the Pirates Precon, blue, black, red, and 1. Each creature you control but don't own gets +2/+2, has the Menaches and the Death Touches, and is a pirate in addition to its other types. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell you don't own, create 2 tapped treasure tokens. That would be good. Atali would be good in this deck. Anything that will allow you to take cards from the top of your your opponent's libraries and cast them for any color mana would be good with this. So lots of goodness there. The Roaming Throne, love this card for your tribal decks. 4 mana for an artifact creature golem, ward 2. Choose a creature type. Roaming Throne is that chosen type in addition to its other types. If a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. Again, I said this in another video that I'll be throwing up, hopefully in the near future. Still doing some editing to it. But the prime example that I could think of with this is Scarecrows. This is Panharmonicon. So, you know, the Reaper King for Scarecrows says, whenever another Scarecrow enters the battlefield under your control, if you control the Reaper King, destroy target permanent. If you have Roaming Throne on the battlefield, you essentially destroy 2 permanents. If you have Panharmonicon on the battlefield, you are destroying 3 permanents. So lots of stupidity would ensue. So any tribal deck, I could see this just becoming a staple just to get those triggers popping and popping and popping over and over again. This is a great card. I love this card. All right, then we've got another Jurassic Dino Land. Fantastic. Everything is great, shiny, and beautiful, and then when dinos attack. That looks like it's from the first Jurassic World movie, which that was a very sad scene. That made me very sad. Then we have Gisath, Sun's Avatar in the foiling. Ooh, that is beautiful foiling on that. Red, green, white, and 5 for Vigi Trample Haste. Dinosaur Avatar. Whenever Gisath, Sun's Avatar deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put any number of dinosaur creature cards from among them onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in the random order. Yeah, so that is just a ridiculous way to just explode your deck, and he can swing out of the gate, and he has trample. So swinging out of the gate, no blockers, 7 cards, potentially 7 dinosaurs, and then you make him bigger, and that's just going to be a problem. And then there is our map token and a bat. All right. So lots of great cards in this set so far. And we're just 2 packs deep. And these packs don't want to open. There we go. All right. Okay. We are halfway through our first set. Okay, so commons, more commons, uncommons. Okay. Uncommon, and then the plains. I love the art on these planes. They didn't have to go this hard on this art. It is just freaking beautiful art here. I mean, and the foiling on this is fantastic. All right. Belligerent Yearling has a fun art card. Then our first rare is Warden of the Inner Sky, Human Soldier. As long as Warden of the Inner Sky has 3 or more counters on it, it has Flying and Vigilance. Tap 3 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control. Put a 1/1 counter on Warden of the Inner Sky. Scry 1. Activate only as a sorcery. And that's a 1 mana for a 1/2. It doesn't say, it just has to be 1/1 counters on it. So you could put a shield counter on it. Or maybe another type of counter. So that's something to consider when trying to buff up this guy. All right, Intrepid Paleontologist, green and 1, tapper to add 1 mana of any color, pay 2 to exile target card from a graveyard. You may cast dinosaur creature spells from among cards you own in exile with Intrepid Paleontologist. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it. That means that if it dies, I believe it goes into the exiles. Bygone Marvels, 2 green for a sorcery. Descend 8. When you cast this spell, if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, copy this spell twice. You may choose new targets for the copies. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand, and then exile Bygone Marvels. Okay, so if there's more than 8, then you can copy it twice. So then for 2 mana, return 3 permanent cards to your hand. I think that's pretty good, especially depending on the decks that you're playing against. If you're playing against a mill deck or something, that can bring some heaters back to your hand or other things that you really need. That's a great card. I like it. Animpakal, 1000th Moon. All right, red, white, and 1 for Human Soldier. Whenever you attack with 1 or more non-gnome creatures, put a 1/1 counter on Animpakal. Then create X 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. Okay, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on Animpakal. So we're just going to buff her with counters, and we're in white. Throw that white god that is going to be a tripler effect. Throw a little Anointed Procession with her as well. Okay, yep, we can make that happen. And then here we've got another Jurassic, or actually our first Jurassic Park card, Ellie and Alan Paleontologists, green, white, and blue. 2/5 for Human Scientists. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Discover X, where X is the mana value of the exile card. Activate only as a sorcery. So you exile a card from your graveyard, a creature card. Then you basically cascade X, where X is the mana value of that exile card. Reveal cards from top of your library until you reveal something with mana value X or less. And then you can either put into your hand or you cast it for free. Throw in a lot of untap effects, Mage Right Stone, Kiora's Follower, things like that. And then you've got several ways that you could utilize Ellie and Alan during your turn. And then Polani's Hatcher, green, red, and 3 for a dinosaur. Other dinosaurs you control have the Hostes. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 0/1 green dinosaur egg creature tokens. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, if you control one or more eggs, sack an egg, then create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token. Is that the right colors for the Nest Tender Lady? If so, that seems like that could go good with her. I'll have to look that up, or in the comments, let me know. Is that the right colors for the Nest Tender? Because that seems like that would go well with her. Let me know. I'm interested. That could be lots of fun. So we've got our copy token and a dino token. There we go. All right. And we are halfway through our first stack. And again, these packs are just tough to get into. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. All right. Let's see what other goodies we got. And we're almost halfway through this box, folks. And already have gotten some great cards, I feel like. And here is our mountain card. We've got Akawali, the Seething Tower. I love the art on that. That looks like that could be a fun build. Then we've got Deeproot Pilgrimage. Blue and 1 for an enchantment. Whenever one or more non-token merfolk you can control become tapped, create a 1/1 blue merfolk creature token with hexproof. Okay, fun. Especially if you're running a merfolk deck. Magmatic Galleon, 2 red and 3 for a vehicle, 5/5. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature an opponent controls. Whenever one or more creatures your opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, create a treasure token. Okay, so if you have a way to maybe bolster your red damage, your damage effects, that way you're dealing a lot of excess damage, you can make a lot of treasure. Especially if it's non-combat. Lots of lightning bolts that are dealing over damage. So that'd be like your Fiery Emancipations or Torbrand from the Throne of Eldraine. Hawkball, the Surging Soul. Green and blue and 2 Merfolk Scout. This is from the Merfolk Precon. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each Merfolk creature you control explores. Whenever Hawkball, the Surging Soul attacks, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you don't, draw a card. Okay. Be a lot of fun. Trumpeting Carnosaur, 2 red and 4. When it enters the battlefield, discover 5. Okay. Red and 2, discarded. It deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Okay. And it's a 7/6. That seems pretty decent. Not too bad. Not too shoddy. Then we've got the Mosasaurus. I like that. That is very imposing art on that island. I really like that. That's from, I think, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, I think, or Dominion. Whatever the second one was. I really like that. That's pretty cool. And then we're seeing another Ever-Flowing Well. We've already talked about that one, but this one is in the foils, so we really like that. I think that could be a fun card. And then we've got our Vampire token and a Spirit token. All right, and then pack number 5 for our first 6 packs. All right, there we go. And we'll toss that over there. All right, here we go. Cosmonym Blast. Pirate hat. Every good pirate needs a hat. Hidden Necropolis. Saheeli's Lattice. That isn't uncommon. Kinjali's Dawn Runner. Zoala Lava Tongue. And then That was just one card, yeah? Yeah. Then we have our island card. And then the fancy art for Zoyawa Lava Tongue. That's kind of funny. Then we've got Eboila's Awakening. White and 3 and X. Return target artifact or non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with X additional 1/1 counters on it. It's a 1/1 spirit creature with flying in addition to its other types. Okay, so you return a target artifact or non-aura enchantment. It comes in with X 1/1 counters on it, and it's a spirit. Well, that's kind of interesting. So you turn an artifact or a non-aura enchantment into a ghost, basically. And then it's a 1/1, but it's going to be beefy because of the X. Okay, I mean, that's kind of interesting. Does it fly? Yeah, and it flies. Sure, why not? We've seen the Dire Flail, and then here's Tetsun Gnome Champion. Again, this is from the Commander Precons. Whenever Tetsun or another double-faced artifact enters the battlefield under your control, mill 3. You may put an artifact card from among them into your hand, and then craft with 6 artifacts for 4, and it turns into the Golden Gear Colossus. Vigi Trample 6/6. Whenever the Golden Gear Colossus enters the battlefield or attacks, transform up to 1 other target double-faced artifact you control. Create 2 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens. Okay, that's kind of interesting. And you could run him as your commander? Yep, you could run him as your commander as well. So that's kind of interesting. That could be an interesting build around. And then we've got a Restless Ridgeline. Taps for a white or green. Turns into a 3/4 red and green dino creature until end of turn for 4 mana. When it attacks, another target creature gets +2/+0. All right. And then we've got the Endoraptor, the perfect hybrid Dino Mutant Bloodthirst X for 1 black or green and red. Enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it, where X is the damage you dealt to your opponents this turn. It has the Menaches. Enrage whenever Endoraptor, the perfect hybrid, is dealt damage. Excuse me. Choose an opponent at random. Endoraptor deals damage equal to its power to that player unless they sacrifice a non-token creature. And it is a 3/1. So it's kind of skimpy on its toughness, but you could beef it up some. It does come in with X 1/1 counters on it based off of the damage you dealt your opponents this turn. I wonder if that is all opponents. Here's the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it, where X is the damage dealt to your opponents this turn. So if that's all opponents, and you're in red, so you could deal a lot of non-combat damage to your opponents, cast it, and then it comes in huge because it's only 3 mana. So you wait until mid-late game, find a way to give it some haste and some evasion. That has some possibilities. And then we've got the Bedrock Tortoise, green and 3. As long as your turn, creatures you control have hexproof. Each creature you control with toughness greater than its power assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So it's the big butt squad. So we're making damage with our butts instead of our power. Okay. And here we go. Here is our last pack from this first set of 6. If I can get into it. There we go. All right. I'll just knock the camera around a little bit. That is all right. Let's get this kind of straightened back out. Okay. And let's see what we got. Hopefully we got something good in this last one. Here is our forest card into Earthshaker Dreadmaw. 2 green and 4. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each other dinosaur you control. So that's going to be a lot of card draw if we're running a dino deck. Saheeli Sun's Brilliance. Here's our mythic red and blue. For a 2/2, pay red and blue tapper. Create a token that's a copy of another target creature or artifact you control, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains the haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. And then if you have ways to end the turn, so you're missing your end step, then that gets to hang around a little bit longer. So this could get stupid quickly. So that could be some interesting build arounds. Into our Warden of the Inner Sky. We've already talked a little bit about him. Into the Master of the Dark Rites. Black for a 1/1, tapper to sack another creature, add 3 black mana. Spend this mana only to cast Vampire, Cleric, and or Demon spells. Okay, so going to our Orzhov Aristocrats decks. Okay, interesting. Molten Collapse, black and red, choose 1. If you descended this turn, you may choose both instead. Destroy target creature and or planeswalker. Or destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. Bye-bye Soul Ring or bye-bye Mana Crypt. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Welcome to... Oh, this is another Jurassic Park card. Welcome to Jurassic Park. 2 green and 1. As this saga enters the battlefield, start at chapter 1. For each opponent, to 1 target non-creature artifact they control becomes a 0/4 wall artifact creature with Defender for as long as you control this saga. Let's go ahead and turn off some mana rocks. I like it. Chapter 2, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. It gains haste until end of turn. And then chapter 3, destroy all walls. Exile this saga, then return it to the battlefield transformed. So we're going to be transforming it. Let's transform it. Let's see what it does. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Legendary land. Each dinosaur in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana value plus 3 other The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. You may cast cards from your graveyard for their escape cost. Okay. And then tap it to add a green for each dinosaur you control. That's pretty good. And then that's a Gaia's Cradle for dinosaurs. So perfect for your dinosaur deck. And then we've got a foil Get Lost, which I absolutely love this art. Love the foiling on this card. I think this is one of the best kill spells to come out of this set. White and 1, destroy target creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. Its controller creates 2 map tokens. Instant speed. You got that planeswalker that's getting ready to... Oh, let's go ahead and get that out of there. And then just the art on this is phenomenal. And I love the foiling on that. Look at that. It's so pretty. Okay, then we have... Oh, I love the Fungus Dragon. Hopefully we'll see the artifact that creates the Fungus Dragon. And then the Skeleton Pirate. That's pretty cool. All right, so that is our first 6 packs from this collector booster pack from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Again, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. And as a thank you, I do have a Magic Arena card for you. I tell you what, we will do 2 because this is a shorter video because it is a collector booster card set. So here you go. 2 Magic Arena cards or codes just as a thank you for watching today's video. So again, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and opening these packs with me. Hope y'all enjoy these codes. And after the break, we will be opening these next 6 packs. So hang tight, and we'll see you after the break. And we are back, and we have 6 more packs from this collector box of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and we still have our foil treasure trove box topper to open. So lots of goodies left. We've seen lots of great Jurassic Park cards, lots of cool. I mean, this is still my favorite card right here. Love the art, love the foiling on that. So lots of great things that we've seen. So let's get into this second grouping of 6. All right, there we go. Just rip right into that. All right, let's see what we got. Three, 4. Okay, now we're getting into our uncommons. We did see the fancy art on the Earth Shaker. Contested Game Ball. Into our fun Swamp card. Into Captain Storm. Alright. Love the art on that. And then our first rare is Jadelight Spelunker. Green and X for a Merfolk Scout for a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, it explores X times. I mean, that's, that's pretty straightforward. Especially with all the merfolk going on and all the exploring. I like it. The Belligerent, red and blue and 2 for a 5/5 vehicle. When it attacks, create a treasure token. Until end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. To March of the Canonized, white, and X. When it enters the battlefield, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink. Okay, that's never a bad idea. At the beginning of your upkeep, if your devotion to white and black is 7 or greater, create a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. Okay, well that's kind of interesting. That'd go great in a token deck. So then we have, here's our first god that we're seeing, and it's the good art for them, the fancy art. Green and 3 for Ozur Kozlam, the Deepest Growth. Trample 6/5. When it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. You may put a creature and or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom in random order. When it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control. And it comes in as the Temple of Cultivation. Tap it to add a green. And then you can pay green and 2 to tap it to transform it back. Activate only if you control 10 or more permanents and only as a sorcery. But I do love this kind of fun temple art on these gods. I mean, it's just beautiful. So that's pretty awesome. Here's the Forest Jurassic Park art again. Good day, good night. And then here is a special guest, Galta, the Primal Hunger. 12/12 Elder Dino. 2 green and 10 for a Trampler. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. And then beautiful foiling on that. So always a treat to see Galta as a special guest popping into a deck. All right, and then we've got our map tokens and a gnome soldier. All right, and let's get into pack number 2. Bust right into that. That's what we like to see, is a good clean open. These have been giving me problems all night. All right, here we go. And into our uncommons. There's our fun plains. And then the firstborn of Gisath. And then we've got another god. Okay, so this second set is our god set, apparently. Osier Pakpatik, the Deepest Epoch, 2 blue and 2. For a flying 4/3, whenever you cast an instant spell from your hand, it gains rebound. Exile it as it resolves. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast it from exile without paying its mana cost. When it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control with 3 time counters on it. And then that turns into the Temple of Cyclical Time. Tap it to add a blue, remove a time counter from the temple. Pay 2 and a blue to transform it, and then activate it only if there are no time counters on it. So if you had a way to untap your land so that you could tap it multiple times, looking at like Kiora's Follower or Magerite Stone, things like that, that have the untap effects, or something that will just remove counters in general, I think that would be a great way to speed that up. So kind of a fun spell slinger god. Terror Tide, 2 black and 2 for a sorcery. All creatures get -X until end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. I mean, perfect for that Ancient One, self-mill, Dimir deck. I think that's just a great way to protect yourself. Topography Tracker Merfolk Scout, 2/2, green and 2. Enters the battlefield, create a map token. If a creature you control would explore, it explores, then it explores again. So you're getting 2 explores for the price of 1 for 3 mana. So I think that's not too bad. Amalia Benavides Aguilar, for a Vampire Scout, 2/2, white and black. Ward, pay 3 life. Okay. Whenever you gain life, she explores, then destroy all creatures if its power is at exactly 20. So she could be a time bomb. So keep bumping her up, and then you can use her to just wipe the board. That's pretty good. Not too bad. Swooping Pterodactyl. So this is Swooping Pteranodon. Red and white and 3 for a dinosaur flying haste. When Swooping Pteranodon or another dinosaur with flying enters the battlefield under your control, gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains flying and haste until end of turn. At the beginning of your next end step, target land deals 3 damage to that creature. That's interesting. Target land deals 3 damage to... I'm not sure why the land would deal damage, but okay. But that is a Jurassic Park card. All right. Here we have another Terror Tide, but this time in the foils. And then we've got a gnome and a dinosaur. All right. Pack number 3. All right, Frilled Cave Worm. Get through some of these commons. Into the uncommons, Belligerent Yearling. Into our fun mountain card. That's some fun art there. Uchbenbach, the Great Mistake. Into Restless Ridgeline. We've already seen this one, but here is a fun foil on that one. All right. Cosmomum Confluence, green and 4. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Search your library for a cave. Put it onto the battlefield tapped. Put 3/1/1 counters on a cave you control. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land, and destroy target destroy target enchantment. So you could I mean, I really like the choice cards because you can get multiple modes and be able to do several things. I mean, if you are having an enchantment issue, just go through and zap a bunch of enchantments, or you can make a couple of nice. If you're running some cave lands, make them into creatures so you can start swinging or put up some defense. So that's pretty good. Altar of the Wretched, black and 2. When it enters the battlefield, you may sack a non-token creature. If you do, draw X, then mill X, where X is that creature's power. Craft with one or more creatures for 2 black and 2. Return Altar of the Wretched from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. And then it crafts into the Wretched Bone Mass. Power and toughness are equal to the total power of the exile cards used to craft it. Interesting. Has flying as long as an exile card used to craft it has flying. The same is true with first strike, double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible. Okay. So this is like a Odric, just gonna be big and an issue. That's kind of could be kind of scary in an artifact deck. The Micro Tyrant, which looks like Clayface from Batman the Animated Series. Calling it in this artwork. Tell me that doesn't look a little bit like Clayface. I'll wait. Tell me in the comments. I'll wait right now. Okay. The Micro Tyrant, black, green, and 1. Trample, star. Power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control that are fungi and or sapperlings. At the beginning of your end step, create X 1/1 black fungus creature tokens with this creature can't block, where X is the number of times you descended this turn. And I think descended is whenever a creature you control is put into the graveyard. Then we have a mountain Jurassic Park land. Oh, I love that with the Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's fun. And NT, the Sessional of the Sun, red and 1. Whenever you attack, you may discard a card. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until your next end step. Okay. And then a treasure and a merfolk. All right. Pack number 4. We're getting close to the end of this box. All right, and these are getting easier to open. Good deal. Either I know what I'm doing now, or they're getting easier to open. We'll go with they're getting easier to open because I surely don't know what I'm doing. All right, here is an island card. Nakanzil, the current conductor. Love that art on her, and the foiling makes it look really fantastic. And then here's the original art for that Inimpakal, the 1000th moon. Subterranean Schooner, blue and 1. Whenever it attacks, target creature that crewed it this turn explores. Okay. Skeleton Crew, black and 3. Skeleton Pirate. Each other creature you control that's a skeleton or a pirate gets +1/+1. Okay. Whenever 1 or more creatures leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black skeleton pirate creature token. Black and 5, return Skeleton Crew from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay, that could be kind of fun. Interesting. And then Tashana's Tidebender, Merfolk Wizard. Blue and 2, flash 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, target up to 1 target activated or trigger ability. So it's a counter spell on a creature. If an ability of an artifact, creature, or planeswalker is countered this way, that permanent loses all abilities as long as Tashana's Tidebender remains on the battlefield. That's kind of scary. And then our Jurassic Park card is Don't Move. I really like this. This is kind of interesting. Don't Move, 2 white and 3. Destroy all tapped creatures until your next turn. Whenever a creature becomes tapped, destroy it. So you could give all your creatures indestructible or vigilance, do the attacking, and cast this, and then pass the turn, and then just dare your opponents to attack, because if they attack, if they don't have a way to give their stuff indestructible or vigilance, their creatures are going to be destroyed. So I think it's a very interesting board wipe, and I'll be interested to see if this gets run much in Commander. I like the art on it, especially the whole concept set behind Tyrannosaurus Rex can't see you if you're not moving, and then being destroyed if you do move. So that's kind of interesting. And then Stalactite Stalker, Goblin Rogue, Menache at the beginning of your end step. If you just send it this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Stalactite Stalker. Black and 2. Sacrifice it. Target creature gets -X/-X, where X is its power. All right. Pack number 5. We're getting there, folks. And don't forget, we still have our Treasure Trove foil card that we need open. And we'll be doing that after we get through the rest of these cards. Or the rest of these packs. So we still have one more pack to go. And then we will bust into that. All right, and then we've got our foil swamp into a Thrashing Brontodon. Abuela, the Ancestral Echo, blue and white and 1, flying ward 2. White, blue, and 1. Exile another target creature or artifact you control. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So you're just going to start blinking your creatures and your artifacts and get the ETB triggers. Seems like a white-blue thing to do. Let's see. Mazzalanti, the Great Door, for 3 colorless mana. Tap it to draw a card, then discard a card. Pay 4 to transform it. The Great Door. Activate only if there are 4 or more permanent types among cards in your graveyard. And then what does it turn into? The Core. Fathomless Descent. Tap it to add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Wow. Again, self-milling, I think blue-black, that Ancient One God, I think that's going to go great in that deck. Progenitor's Icon, 3 mana, artifact, enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Looking at you, tribal decks. Tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Tap it, the next spell of the chosen type you cast this turn can be cast as though it had flash. All right. Restless Anchorage, tap Azorius Land, turns into a white-blue bird that's a 2/3 with flying. And when it attacks, create a map. Into an Indominus Rex. Okay, looking at the big boys now. 1 white or black, or excuse me, 1 blue or black, green for a 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, discard any number of creature cards. It enters with a flying counter if a card discarded this way had flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Hexproof, Haste, Indestructible, Lifelink. And you get the point. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each counter on it. So you're going to be refilling your hand. This could be potentially a scary card for 5 mana. And you're in the colors that are going to allow you to bring things back from your graveyard. Yeah, this could be very terrifying. Into the Braided Net. Enters the battlefield with 3 net counters on it. Tap it to remove a net counter on it. Tap another target non-land permanent. Its active abilities can't be activated as long as it remains tapped. Craft with an artifact for blue and 1, and it turns into the braided Kupu. Pay to tap it, draw a card for each artifact you control, then put it into its owner's library, third from the top. So you're going to draw a bunch of cards for all the artifacts and then put it back in your library. All right, and there we go. Okay, and then here we are in our last pack. We have not seen a Mana Crypt or a Cavern of Souls. I'm a little disappointed. So this is our last chance to see it, so maybe we will. Let's see what we've got. Into our forest. Dargo the Shipwreck. Oh, this is a special guest card. Red and 6 for a giant pirate. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of artifacts and or creatures. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each permanent sacrifice this way, and 2 less to cast for each other artifact or creature you sacrifice this turn. Trample and the partner, and he is a 7/5, so he's a big boy. So that'd go great in the new pirate precon. So that's a fun pull right there. We'll put that over here since that's a special guest. Into a Squirming Emergence, black and green and 1. Return to the battlefield target non-land permanent card from your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. In black and green, okay. Queen Bay's Paladin, 2 black and 3 for a Vampire Knight. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, return up to 1 target vampire card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. You lose life equal to its mana value. That's not too bad. I kind of like that, especially if you're running Vampire Tribal. From the Rubble, when it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. So lots of tribal love in this. Because we are looking at tribal dinosaurs, tribal vampire, tribal pirates. So there's tribal merfolk. So lots of tribal love. Choose a creature type at the beginning of your end step. Return target card of the chosen type from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So bringing something back. Back again. Polani's Hatcher, we've seen that. And then a swamp card that is front and back. So front and then back. That it looks like that is from Jurassic Park 3, I believe. That's a lot of fun. Into a Fabrication Foundry. 1 and a white. Tap it to add a white. Activate this. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell. Or to activate an ability of an artifact source. White and 2. Tap it. Exile 1 or more other artifacts you control with total mana value X. Return target artifact with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, so you can bring some artifacts back. That's pretty cool. Okay, and then we got our bat token and our treasure token. All right, and that is it. That is the pack number 6 from our second stack. So that is all 12 packs. So up next, we will be opening our foil treasure trove box topper right here. But before we do that, let me go ahead and give y'all one more code just as a thank you for watching this video and hanging out with me as we've gone through this collector booster box of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. So thank you again for all of your support. Please drop me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from or what you would like to see me do in the near future. Looking at ways of improving the channel, so I'd love to hear from you. So up next, this foil treasure trove box topper. Hang tight and we'll be opening it up next. And we are back with our final card, the foil treasure trove box topper from our collector booster box of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. We've gone through all 12 packs. We've seen lots of fantastic cards. So what are we going to get in our box topper? Let's check it out. I always hate opening these because there's only the, oh, this one's coming easy. Because there's only the one card in it, and I always feel like I'm going to ruin it. Okay. So here we go. Little treasure box topper. Okay. We'll do it this way. Toss that over to the side. We'll flip it over in 3, 2, 1. And we've got a worn Power Stone. This is probably one of the first mana rocks that I bought when I started playing Magic. 10 years ago, I had built a mill deck and needed some extra mana, so didn't have a whole lot of money then, so I bought some worn Power Stones to add to the deck. And so it did its job and gave me what I needed. So always a good little add-in for 3 mana, getting 2 mana out of it. So there you go. So that is our foil treasure trove box topper from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Once again, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And again, as a thank you, here is one final code for you for watching this video. Again, I appreciate all of your support, watching these videos and hanging out with me. So again, my name is Seth. I am your Mild Mannered Mage, and this has been a box opening of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Again, thank you for watching, hanging out with me, and we'll see you on the next video. Y'all have a great one. Good night.